welcome back to Sam's on Wrestling, or welcome to Sam's on Wrestling if you are new. And today we are doing our lockbox series. This is where we take either a trope, a character or a moment, or something associated with wrestling. It doesn't have to be WWE, it could be AEW, WCW, or cross-promotional, and we put it in a box and we shut it away forever because we don't like it. And frankly, if we don't like it, it shouldn't exist. I think this is the attitude that we should take. Sam has a very laid-back attitude about it.
I was admiring your introductions. They're getting better. I think they're really excellent. I'm really proud of you, son. I'm proud of you.
What do you want? What's going on here?
I want to get rid of the thing from my lockbox. I want to get rid of my thing from the lockbox.
You're trying to sweeten me up?
Yeah, I want to get rid of it.
You're going to put Santino in the lockbox. You're trying to sweeten me up.
I really would love to get rid of Santino, but I love the man too much. I want to get rid of your opinions on Santino. Yes, the Vince's lockbox. We don't know what's inside it, but now we know what it is. It's crap. Tropes, wrestling things that we hate, storylines, moments, wrestlers, whatever it is to get rid of. So we want to know, what are your lockbox things? What do you want to get rid of from wrestling of all time? Is it the Wyatt Six? I've heard that 3 times when I've asked other people. They just said the Wyatt Six, which I thought was amazing. Yeah. You know, that was like months ago as well. Let's kick off. Baby Sam, would you like to add or at least attempt to add your first thing to the lockbox?
Yes. Going to keep it very simple, Sam. Wrestlers coming out of retirement. Bar none.
Oh, yeah.
Name me one that's worked.
Shawn Michaels?
Oh, you mean the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the second one. Right. Oh, yeah, but did he formally retire?
Yes.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
I didn't know. Can I change my first line?
Good night, everybody!
Did he actually?
Yes,
Oh.
but let's...
Mick Foley, and that's all I'll say.
Let's rephrase it. Wrestlers coming out of retirement who shouldn't come out of retirement. People who are either too old, who their in-ring style doesn't match with what they're doing, too injured, not interested, doing it for the money. All those people, there's too many, your Hogans and all the people who went to WrestleMania and all those jazz and taking up spots. You're absolutely right. There are a few because you're happy that they've returned and you get that return pop. We did it on our part-timers. Yay or nay series. Go watch one of our first ever videos. Yay and nay on part-timers, positives and pros and cons. We talked about that initial pop and those moments, but then you realise they suck or they're taking a spot. And you're absolutely right. Go watch AEW if you want to see people taking up a spot, old people who should have retired. Jericho! Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
You're right. People coming out of retirement.
The only exception I'll make is if they originally had to retire due to injury, like a Brian or an Edge. It wasn't their choice and suddenly they're cleared. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's a different thing.
You're talking about people who are past it, who've retired because of age.
And especially if they've had a retirement match. So their career was on the line and they lost and they come back. I don't think that should even be allowed. I just think that there's just a religious rule in wrestling where if you do that, you cannot wrestle anywhere again.
So what you're saying is, for all the rest of their life, they should just have a man in a suit who's just behind them. And every time they go, should I wrestle again? Just them going,
no.
And they're
like, don't do it. And then Terry Funk.
And they have to put the wrestling boots down.
Now with this, I have sympathy for people who have run out of money and are doing it on indies. That's a bit of a different thing. Sad, you know what? If you need to earn your money, you go and do that. That's a different thing. Yeah. I'm talking about when people, like a Ric Flair or someone, have had a big retirement storyline and they come back. It never works.
Awful. Yeah.
Never works.
Hogan's
it's always
at
sad to see. I just think if no wrestler had ever come out of retirement after having a retirement match, the world would be a better place. That's it.
It's all those people who can't let go. And it's not just wrestling, you see it with acting and you see it with music and stuff like that. Who go, I'm going to stop doing this. And then they just get that bug, they get that itch. And you can't, because what people don't realise is when you're an actor, and we've been acting and I've done stand-up comedy and stuff, is you cannot beat a reaction. It is like a drug. It's a better drug than any drug could ever be. You know, when you get a laugh from a thing that you have written, it's a feeling you can't take. When you've delivered a line and you get a response from a crowd. I remember when you were in a play and we didn't even care about this line. There was a line where it was weird, like I'd run over. There were animals in this thing. It was a weird story, and I was a human, and I'd run over one of the animals' dads. I didn't even realise I had. And because the dad's not really mentioned in the whole story. And I go, oh yeah, I had this like fox underneath me wheel a couple of weeks ago. And the crowd went, because they realised we didn't. we hadn't even clocked it from the script. We went, oh, it's his dad. What a big dad.
No, I knew it was had.
We all did, but we were like, we didn't
think
care.
It would be that big a beat.
And they all responded. And we were like, ooh, we got thrown.
We got him.
We've never been thrown before. And we had to stay. And character was like, I wasn't expecting the reaction. And literally, we did another show, the same show the next week, and no one reacted to it. We're like, oh.
Well, that's the beauty of a crowd.
And that's the thing, yeah.
Because you don't know how they're going to respond. Literally, the director who was working with us on that, I remember she wasn't the best teacher. I really liked her, but she wasn't amazing. But she gave me a really good little piece of advice. She said, the crowd is the last actor you haven't rehearsed with yet.
Yes.
And there's something about being a performer and being in that environment where you've got people watching you, the pressure to an extent, but the adrenaline and the fun, it's hard to say that way. And times at 1,000 when you are a wrestler, you've got your own entrance music.
Yeah.
And all those kind
it's
of
yours,
things.
and everyone just cheers just from seeing you. And I get that people will struggle with that. But you're absolutely right. Like Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, he still was fine, by the way. He actually was. He was the one who held the match together in that weird Saudi match. But it was a bit like, it's sad. It's sad to see, and you're absolutely right that watching wrestlers come out of retirement, or even wrestlers, in fact, I'll widen the scope, wrestlers who are carrying on who should have retired as well. I think that's even bigger, probably, or at least have a break, or at least go part-time. Scale it back so that you can keep yourself fit and strong. Sting's a great example of that, because I didn't want Sting to retire in the 60s because they'd booked it so well. It's one of the few things AEW has booked to perfection all the way through. So I'm absolutely happy to lob that into the lockbox, Sam, because I want people to be happy and stuff healthy. Like that, and healthy, and healthy is the key. So let's add it to the lockbox. Retired wrestlers, or wrestlers who should retire, is going in to our lockbox.
So Sam, your mood has suddenly changed after looking and just checking your lockbox item. I think you're very desperate to get it in there. So Sam, what have you gone with for your lockbox?
You've done some horrible things to me.
I'd rather we didn't talk about it on air.
Some nasty, vile things, and then I've done some nasty, vile things to you, and it's got bitter, and it's got angry.
I know where you're going.
And it's got vile, and it's so visceral that you just cannot believe these two can even be in the same room as each other without ripping each other's head off, and they've been booked for a match at a pay-per-view. It's this
where you're going.
blood feud. It's one-on-one, and then they get into the ring and they do a lock-up.
They do a collar and elbow tie.
No.
Simple, basic wrestling, isn't it?
The amount of times you build this wonderful feud and then they have a wrestling match. It's not even the collar elbow tie. It's just a wrestling match. They have this normal wrestling match. I'll throw a random match in it that's absolutely left field. Tori Wilson versus Dawn Marie is based on Dawn Marie trying to manipulate Tori into bed, has ended up killing her father by marrying her father, and they've sexed him to death, and then they have a 4-minute normal wrestling match at the Royal Rumble. And you're like, what are we doing here? I'm not saying they should have the greatest match of all time. I'm saying, but they should have punched each other for 20 minutes and then gone, I hate you. Amount of blood feuds, or even World Heavyweight Championship matches where we've got to sit there and you've got to have someone go, and in this corner, are you telling me at the Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes shouldn't have started with them trying to kick the living crap out of each other?
Absolutely.
Why do we have to go through the glorified, this is a big match, we're going for the world title? It's wrestling, you don't need to do these things. So my whole thing is when things are angry and visceral, or a blood feud, and it's just wrestling or normal things, and it doesn't feel like they guys want to fight, or they're desperate to fight, or they have to stand there like a lemon and get your name read out. I just think, you think back to Brock and The Rock at SummerSlam 2002, that wasn't even a blood feud, it was barely a feud, and yet The Rock put his title down, ran to the ring, the main event of SummerSlam, your second biggest show, and they got straight into a fight with punches and stuff. How many times did Stone Cold just come down and get started?
Yeah, because you start that with the energy of the crowd's like, oh, here we go.
Even
That's
big matches.
Better, yeah.
Did they even do that for WrestleMania 17? Did they
No, they went straight into it.
Yeah, they did. That's the main event of WrestleMania, they got straight into it. It's a missed opportunity, and the amount of times that a blood feud falls flat. Triple H, Randy Orton, WrestleMania.
Even Bryan and The Miz did it when they had a match.
And they're going, you should go. I don't even care if you then settle into a match because you've got no choice, because, you've kind of tied each other out from fighting and you're trying to get the upper hand. You go, right, I've got to get my head back on because I've got to get wrestling or whatever. I'm okay with that if it's part of the story. But it's the amount of times they are...
It's okay, Sam.
I will get jockey for position.
Oh, is this... Oh, I am hugging me.
No, I am jockeying for position. Hate it.
Sam, I couldn't agree more. It really frustrates me because I go, you've taken like weeks or months sometimes of really hard work with your promos, with your storyline, with your booking, and you just squander it because you don't think. You're not thinking. I don't know whether it's a producer thing. I don't know whether
Overly
it's
produced.
a directive.
Overly produced.
Yeah. Who's having the conversation in that room where they're saying, you know what, let's do a collar and elbow tie-up? Who is either it's someone suggested that, and then also the people or the wrestlers who have gone and accepted that and haven't gone against that are also
A, B, C, D, E.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So we're going to do the match. You've got the match of paper. So you've skull and elbow, then wrestle for a bit here, then do your dive, and then there's no independent.
There's
thought.
no let's make this match different to
Yeah.
all the others. It's like copy and paste, same old, same old. Sam, it infuriates me because it then just makes you bored. It doesn't make you. You're not even like annoyed. You are annoyed, but you're just bored and just
So
like,
angry.
oh, I can't bother. If they're not going to put the effort into it and create that heat and make it different, why should we put the effort into really getting invested into it?
No, we shouldn't. So
I mean.
can I add
Oh,
blood feuds where we just either have a collar and elbow tie-up or a little normal wrestling match into the Hall of Fame?
with pleasure.
Hall of Fame.
No!
Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What would you add to your lockbox? And what would you not add to your Hall of Fame? Don't forget to follow us on TikTok, Blue Sky, X, and all that jazz. And we will see you next time when we add more things into our lockbox. Thank you very much. There it is.